welcome to the latest episode of Over a Pint. I'm in Minneapolis right now at the Explode Conference Series. There is actually a few more coming up, but I don't know when this one will air, so I'm not going to name a specific date. Just go to explodethis.com if you want to go to future conferences. This week I'm actually really excited, so we have Kris Lindahl here. Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with who you are, why don't you let them know who you are?
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. So I'm Kris Lindahl, CEO of Kris Lindahl Real Estate. We're an independent brokerage in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I got licensed in 2009. Yeah. Was an individual agent until the end of 2014, and then we became a team with another brokerage, and then last May we started Kris Lindahl Real Estate and became an independent brokerage.
It's exciting.
Yeah, super exciting.
This week, so we did a little bit differently with the one this week. We picked up Arrogant Bastard Ale as what we're drinking. So I picked this for you. Yeah, we're with the Explode group.
Oh, okay. This is for a different group, and I need to set up.
Are they, so then does Explode next door?
Say it again?
So
it must be.
Okay, so we're gonna move.
Yeah, perfect.
Move over to the next room.
Sorry, guys.
Great planning.
Yeah. So we're drinking Arrogant. I'm just gonna go right into it. I'm gonna keep that all in.
Love it.
I mean, we'll probably cut out the actual awkward moving part.
I think that's the best part. We're gonna keep that in there.
It's not going anywhere. It keeps my job easier with less editing. So I picked this one specifically for you, and the reason I did is I actually really loved this when I saw that you did. So the Vikings were playing the Eagles in Philly in the playoffs, and you bought a billboard outside the Eagles stadium.
I did.
And I figured everyone in Philly must be thinking you're an arrogant bastard.
I usually always say, like, people judge a book by its cover so often, but maybe in this case, like, people judge a beer can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So for that, like, the thing in Philly, like, you got a lot of attention for that, right?
A ton of attention.
Huge.
A ton of attention, yeah.
Well, that is overflowing, so we're just gonna go for it.
Wow.
I
don't think you opened it.
No, it started overflowing, so I was just doing that part. But yeah, so you just start pouring. We're good.
So the Vikings, it was a couple of years ago, the Vikings were in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And everything in Minnesota that you put up that was purple, I mean, we thought it was our year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for sports fans, you can relate to your team, and
my team might win tonight.
Right. Right, exactly. Yeah. And so I wanted to put up a billboard in Philadelphia, but there were so many challenges, and I know that people that are listening can relate to some of these challenges that we go through in life and in business, and there's so many roadblocks and speed bumps, and you know, most people quit, right? I mean, that's the difference, right? Most people quit, and so we, first billboard company, sign a contract, legal contract, we submit the creative with the artwork, like what the actual design is.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't put that up.
Yeah.
There's like no way that we can put that up, right? So. Yeah. So they reject it, and I'm like, well, we have a contract. Like, you have to honor that. And they're like, no, we don't. We don't want what they're worried about is that billboard actually getting vandalized. So then they reject it, and this is now Thursday. The game is the weekend. We have minutes to figure this out.
Yeah.
So then we go to the second company, and
cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Thanks for coming on.
That's interesting. I don't even drink beer, but I don't know about that.
It's all right.
That's interesting. So then the second company comes around, and they decide that they're not going to do it as well.
Yeah.
Everyone said it's not going to work, and I said we're not stopping until we figure it out. Third company, by this point, we submit the creative to the third company before we even sign the contract. Like, listen, are you comfortable putting this up or not?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I don't see any issue with it. I mean, so we got it up just in time, and I took a flight there, flew to the game, and I calculated, the Uber drivers. When I got picked up at the airport, I asked the Uber driver, I said, hey, are you an Eagles fan? And I made sure I had the right Uber, pulled over on the side of the road, took a picture in front of the billboard. What's interesting about it, where it got all the social engagement is the Philadelphia fans said it was fake. Yeah. Right, this is Photoshop, this is make-believe, that's not the stadium, I know where the stadium is, there's no billboards there. Even after I took the picture in front of it, they said it was fake. and then all the Vikings fans loved it, and it was a last-minute idea, but it took some perseverance to get it done. I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, I think as running your agency, I mean, the really creative and the grand slams are never easy, right? I mean, a lot of people think like, hey, just where do I get opportunities? Oh, I'm just going to buy leads here and I'm going to get I mean, it's hard. You got to be scrappy.
Yeah. So at this conference, because a lot of people were talking about you this morning when you weren't here, and every
hopefully
time,
good.
Yeah, for the most part. But like the big one they kept doing is like some people wouldn't mention you by name; they would just do this.
Yeah.
So can you explain what this is?
Interesting. So yeah, so that's our that's sort of our patent billboard pose that we came up with. Really, as a I think about marketing, and I think about creative, and really having like a pattern interrupter, right? Yeah. Something that like people are going to notice, and if people don't notice it, then it's not effective. Then you're probably losing money and you're not getting an ROI on your marketing plan. And so we wanted to come up with something that people would notice no matter what. Yeah. And we started to learn actually after some time that people were really interested in mimicking the pose. Yeah. Not only, I mean, we had people that actually put up billboards, making fun of me and making fun of the pose. That's right. Yeah. And then also, like, everywhere I go, people just do that pose. They don't even say anything. So it's always interesting what actually takes and sticks, and what things don't work. And for every successful campaign, I have like our like the arms out billboard pose or the Eagles. I have equally or more failures along the way.
All it takes is that one to hit.
That's it.
And then you're good.
And you gotta keep trying, right? I mean, you keep getting knocked down, and really, like, I just love the journey now. Like I love the because even if we don't get it right, I still learn something, right? What didn't work? Why didn't it work? Was it our execution? Was it the way it looked? Was it our targeting? I mean, there are so many different things that we can learn from it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, is when something doesn't work, you get discouraged. You no longer feel like you're going to move forward, and you're not looking to learn from a failure. And that's a big part of it for us, is like every learning opportunity, every time that we fail, this is a great learning opportunity. Yeah.
So just for reference for people, like roughly, because I know you said you're a team of about 80.
Yeah.
Was it? How many deals roughly are you guys doing per year?
Yeah. So we're on pace this way. There's some variables in our production this year where we're going to land, but we're on pace for the 3,000 to 4,000 mark. Yeah. And we've always consistently had top producing agents. Like, I have no interest in bringing in an agent that's selling a few homes a year that's part-time. There's a spot for them in another brokerage, but I want to be around high performing people. Yeah. Like, I want to be the Yankees, the Patriots. Like, I want to be the most elite real estate team / brokerage in the entire country. And that's not for everyone, right? I mean, that's not to say that that's the only way to do it. But our per agent production has always been really high. But I can tell you, because of the way that we're growing now, and you know this as well, Andrew, like, per agent production is hard to track when you have people that are joining, 3 months into the year, 6 months into the year. Like, it's really hard to catch what the actual number is.
Yeah, until everyone hits 12 months.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you have to figure out some sort of metrics there, and you just need a numbers guy in-house.
For sure, yeah.
Let's get some weird analytics person.
Yeah.
So if someone to like recreate what you guys do in like a different market, because like from what I'm hearing, you guys have had billboards, radio, basically everything that you can get space in. That, for a lot of people starting out, probably is not in the budget. For sure. Because it takes time to get there. Would you recommend like doing all that in like a really small area, or starting with one? Like, what would your advice be to someone looking to create that presence?
Great question. And so, when I started in 2009, it wasn't in my budget either, right? And so we actually had a question here where a lady asked, like, hey, did you take on financing, or do you have an investor to fund this? And we funded it all in-house, just on hard work and investing back what we make into branding and into marketing to help the agents and their families do more business and make a bigger impact in their community. But the one philosophy that I've always had, whatever it is, whether it's social, whether it's digital, whether it's traditional, out of home, in home, whatever it may be, you got to own something. Yeah. Like, you have to own something. Like, if you're just spread so thin and you're doing 20 different things, and after 2 months you're canceling and you're not, you have to make an impression somewhere where people remember you.
And how long should someone stick with something when they're not getting like consistent results yet?
Well, I mean, and that answer is different depending on, what type of what type of equity that real estate agent, team, brokerage, mortgage, title, what equity they have in their brand already, right? So when we add something in our organization today, we get immediate lift because of the equity that we have built up in our brand. Now, I can tell you early on, when not as many people knew who we were, when we added something else, we would lose for 12 plus months, right? And the difference is we wouldn't give up, and you hear this over and over again. I've watched so many people that will come in and try to, maybe compete with us on a station or maybe compete on a medium that we're currently in, and they fall off after 2 or 3 months, right? Yeah. So if you don't have the budget for 12 plus months, I would say don't do it, right? And as real estate agents, we're always chasing the next shiny thing, and we're chasing 20 different things at once, trying everything, just constant over and over again. And I was a victim of all of that as well. I bought a lot of stuff that we never even used, to be honest. Had it on recurring revenue, or maybe you're running a brokerage or a team and you have people getting dizzy, right? You're just rolling out so much stuff that really people don't even know the technology you have or how to even implement it.
Do you have that issue with your team of trying to because you say you find a tool that you're like, okay, this is game changing for us. How big of a struggle is it getting your team to adapt it? Because one thing we've noticed with teams is getting the adoption from team members is tough.
So adoption's super easy for us. Adoption is really easy. I would say adoption's really difficult for the traditional brokerage, right? So average age statistic, maybe it's 57, 50. I mean, depending on where you're at. I mean, it's older, right? And so a lot of the people that have been in real estate for 20, 30 years, they don't need to do all this or have the desire to do all this, right? They're working in their book of business. Maybe they're, flat or maybe declining a little bit, but they're totally okay with it. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate is you can be in a different position in life and still be successful. And so that's the part that, I think the larger brokerages where you have a lot of people that trend towards the older side of the average age really have no interest in adopting that technology. And so we're super young and super tech savvy. And so to roll out technology, if that's what we're talking about for adoption, having tech savvy people in your organization is super critical to really understanding and how to execute that.
So because you guys generate, like we were talking earlier, thousands of leads a month. And I know, talking to agents, and you've probably seen it too, the biggest struggle everyone has is lead conversion. So what do you guys do to start converting these thousands of leads you're getting?
I think everyone watching has probably, in most cases, has too many leads. I mean, we've all, including myself, been chasing all of these opportunities, and over the past few years, I mean, a lot of the focus in tech and different things that are happening is how to actually convert all of these opportunities, right? I mean, we have a lot of cold leads, unresponsive ones. How do we get them on drip campaigns? A lot of conversations around artificial intelligence and Facebook Messenger bots and all of these different things. And for us, I think what has been most effective is our branding, right? So when you have a brand, it attracts people. It also attracts those nurture leads or those unresponsive leads that when they're ready, they know you, they hear you, they see you, they feel you, and they reach back out. And so everything that we receive in our organization is inbound, which is a massive difference. Most organizations,
it's leads are way better.
The quality is way better because they've already been warmed up. They like, trust, they see our results, right? They see our signs everywhere. A lot of the buyers that we work with, we have a lot of testimonials around, wow, they found us a house that wasn't on the MLS. So we've got a lot of results, and people brand and market companies for trust. And that's exactly what they do. And so if you want to convert more opportunities, figure out how to get a brand, because that brand will help you convert at a higher level.
So interesting. So you're obviously very brand heavy. And so I actually have two pieces on that. One, did you hire a branding company, or is this all something you guys just kind of developed and evolved yourselves over time?
So the initial vision of the Kris Lindahl team then, and now Kris Lindahl Real Estate, was me. I'm super marketing orientated. That's really been a large part of really where we are today was my my thought process and vision. As we've grown, it's been difficult from just simply time for me to continue the brand movement alone. So we have people that help us negotiate, contracts and have relationships with the media companies, and we use a local agency here and to manage all of our media stuff. But a lot of the influence on what we do and why we do it and what the next campaigns are in-house still, and that's one thing that at times can be difficult to scale, as you know, right? No one understands, likes, and feels and lives the brand more than the people that are in the brand or the ones that created the brand, right? I mean, so I think we've got some really talented people in our organization, some people that are helping us really start to understand the look and feel of our brand and what works for us. So I can see in the future that I'll have less to do with the actual execution and more sitting in the seat of the ideas and the dream. And that's what I want. I'm about as true of a visionary as you'll get, you know? I mean, I'm seeing big picture, looking at the changes in the industry and having people that can help support and really enable you to continue to dream and see the future, right? I think the challenge with so many CEOs and visionaries is they don't have the support staff or the people that are willing to execute the ideas that they put together, right? So I'm great for the first 10%, and then like I need someone to help me get it to the finish line. Like I can take it to the finish line, and I did when we were small, but I don't love to, right? That's putting me in the weeds of a place that I'm not really passionate about.
Yeah, that's the same way I am. Like I love getting things off, getting them going, and then I let other people take it home. Yeah. So on the brand topic, so like big on brand, you were with Remax before, and then left, and now you have like your own independent brokerage. What was the thought process behind leaving an established brand and launching your own?
Yeah, so you know, we were with a local Remax here, and I honestly have nothing but positive things to say about them and their leadership, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. But it just made sense for us to take 100% control of our brand, right? And so, as you know, you've seen this all over the country, and this is not specific to one brokerage or another, but a lot of the teams are outgrowing the brokerages in terms of branding, right? And so we couldn't be in a position where we were giving up, every state's different, and I know that we have people watching all over the country, whether it's 49% or 51%, where we had to have the brokerage on our signs, we had to have the brokerage on our billboards, we had to have the brokerage mentioned in our radio ads, mentioned in our social media, everywhere. It was required. And so it wasn't even that we were unhappy, it just no longer made sense. And sometimes those things are difficult in business, and I left a lot of friends and people that I still remain to be friends with today, and some that I saw today at the conference. And sometimes you outgrow a model, and we were in that place where it no longer made sense. And it's not anything specific to that brokerage or to that company, because they're a great company and they do wonderful things for a lot of agents. It's just the place that we were at in our organization. We had to leave and sort of let our wings soar.
So I know with like at your level, it'd be really hard to find like a coach who's been where you are, because I know a lot of agents, they want to be coached by an agent who's been where they are and want to get to where they are. But at your level, there's so few kind of doing 3,000-4,000 deals a year. Like, do you have a coach? Are they in the industry, or are they just like a general business coach?
So we have different coaches and mentors, and a couple that come to mind. John Cheplak's a coach who you've definitely seen, and he does phenomenal work. I mean, he grew an organization to astronomical numbers, and he's been really important in our organization. He's really invested in us and invested in our leadership, so I'm super grateful for him. Darren Dawson, one of the co-founders of BombBomb, has honestly probably been my biggest fan and mentor from day one. I mean, I can call Darren at any time that I'm in a situation where, maybe to your point, maybe I'm in an area I haven't been in before, right? I mean, they've grown a really large company, and what I've learned is that a lot of the challenges that we experience at this level aren't specific to real estate, right? I mean, it's organizational growth, people, life showing up. I mean, we've had some tough situations with people in our organization with their families and sickness and deaths and all these different things. And it's like, how do you cope with that? How do you handle that? How do you support those people? And having people like John, Darren, and so many more, I have a lot of local mentors, people that have built and sold large companies, people that what I'm more interested in have built and sold companies and figure out how to give it all back. Like, that's really what drives me. I want to really give everything back and create generosity and show people like how you can build a platform and build this large business, but you can also create a better humanity, right? And give back and make a difference. And so I've had so many but you are right, like in the real estate space specifically, it gets very difficult when you grow. Like, there aren't a lot of people that are in a position that we're in, and we're fortunate to be here, and I wouldn't change it for anything. but the learning gets a little more difficult. Like I remember when I was early on, like I had a lot of people to talk to.
A lot of proven models.
Right, totally. And with that, like we've carved sort of our own path, which most people aren't going down the same direction, which doesn't make it right or wrong, but we're in a completely different area than most are,
Makes sense. And so like you mentioned earlier, like you're getting top producing agents are the ones you want on your team. Now, are they coming to you as already top producing agents, or are you identifying people you think could be and helping them get there?
Yeah, so within our organization, by no means is our top producing agents the only agents. We launched a scholarship campaign, and we've had a lot of people that are not in the industry that are looking to get licensed, where Kris Lindahl Real Estate is paying for them to go get their real estate license. I mean, the tuition, the books, everything, in sort of like our Be Generous movement of giving back and making a difference. When I was early on in my career, I didn't have any resources, and if I can help others, there's a lot of people that are passionate about real estate, right? Yeah. Whether it's they love staging, they love houses, they love people, whatever it is, but they couldn't take that leap of faith because they didn't have the resources. And as you know about real estate, it's not just the license, it's the next 6 months with no paycheck. Right, like
so. It took me 6 months to get my first job.
Right. I mean, that's the hardest part, and so we're because of our branding, and because of the way the industry's changing, it requires so much capital to run a functioning real estate business in this world that we're attracting people that really don't want to take that risk or can't take that risk and want to be a part of the best locker room in real estate, just like I mentioned earlier. The Yankees and the Patriots and teams like that, and sometimes it's the underdogs as well, right? I mean that are playing way past any expectations that anyone had of them. Vegas Knights a couple years ago, prime example. Expansion team. No one thought that they were actually even going to get to the playoffs, let alone the Stanley Cup. Right, St. Louis Blues winning, same example, right? And so what happens is we get a lot of people that want to be in an environment like that, and I've been in so many real estate brokerages where the environment's so negative and no one wants to help you, and it's everyone fend for themselves. And so being a part of my organization and in our organization, I should say, is it's so positive and people are willing to help and do those things. And I'm convinced that, marketing, branding, opportunities, we have all that. We provide all the support for our agents. That's not it. It's the people. Yeah. The people are what get us to that per agent production. It's their families supporting our people, and all of those things are what get us to that level. It's not the leads. It's not the opportunity. I've seen companies that generate a lot of opportunities, but no one wants to work there, right? And so you're no good unless you have people that want to actually, jump in and take over the world with you. And I think that's the piece for me that I've loved so much is watching people that, whether they're brand new, and 3 months in, they're like, wow, I've sold 7 houses or 10 houses or 20 houses. And then watching the experienced agents that say, wow, I had no idea that your organization looked like this. I thought it was something completely different. And watching those breakthroughs that people have, like in our organization, we never really put parameters on who we bring in. Yeah. We're focused on, are they a culture fit, right? Do they believe in generosity? And secondly, do they fit our assessment, right? Yeah. And that doesn't mean if you don't fit our assessment, if you don't fit our assessment, that doesn't mean you can't be successful in real estate. We're just fairly certain it's not going to work in our model.
Yeah. So an interesting one, because you were talking about, and it came up when you were on stage about the haters online. I even remember you specifically mentioned Twitter, and I even remember recently seeing a Twitter thread about it. And how do you deal with that? But it's such an interesting one coming through. If you keep seeing this time and time again with every top producer we deal with. You can always find people in their market who, no matter how good of a person they are, they're basically being shit on. Yeah. And does that get to you personally ever? No. Or do you just know it's more of that jealousy thing?
Early on it did, for sure, right? I mean, I'm used to being a super likable guy. Grew up fortunate with a lot of friends, great family, had a lot of fun, had a lot of great connections. To all of a sudden, people have these stories about you that you don't even know about, right? It's these things I'm hearing. I'm
really exciting.
Right. I'm I don't even know what that even means, right? Yeah. And so it gets difficult. But I think over time, what I've realized is that I'm not the issue, they are, right? I mean, if you're in a position where you're writing comments, whether it's on a news article or social media or emails or texts or whatever it is, if you're writing things like that are that negative about someone, in most cases that you've never met, the problem's them, not me, right? And so I also realize that if you're not getting attention, then you're not being effective, right? So when people are making comments and saying things and doing things, whether it's in the industry or outside the industry, I know that we're doing is effective, right? And so what I worry about is I worry about the day that people are no longer having are no longer writing those comments and are no longer have an opinion, because then it's concerning because we're no longer making the impact that we once were.
Yeah.
And so I'm super focused on, like, we need people to have an opinion, whether it's, you know, positive, negative, neutral. We just need to know where people stand. And we've been fortunate enough here to have a lot of support inside the industry and also in the local community. And don't get me wrong, there are people that write things, but no, I brush those things aside and know that we're on the right path.
Do you guys ever respond to any of them?
I have. Yeah, I have. I've responded to a few, and you know, some of them I respond through PR. You know, I mean, so I've had a few on the news that my response didn't go directly to them; it went on the news. And so I've turned a couple really negative, I would say, cyber online bullying acts where people have bullied against us, and I've turned them into positive and turned it into a way to contribute to charity and in hopes to teach them and others that are watching that, like, there's a way that we can come together as a community and provide positive group thinking. I think a lot of times we think that everything is, you know, negative. I think about riots, and you've got the friend that's a school teacher that's never been in trouble before in their entire life, and they're pictured on TV throwing rocks through a window in this huge group. And we've watched that all the time. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we take our group of supporters and people that have been so amazing to us, how do we take those people and together, like, we create a positive group thinking environment rather than a negative one, right? Because I know that if I jump in that comment thread, I'm going to lose. Like, it's just, at some point I will lose. No matter what I say, whether I acknowledge it, whether I apologize, whatever my statement is, there are going to be other people that are going to come over the top and reply to that comment and have an opinion on what's going on. And I will tell you that I've learned over time, it's really interesting how willing we are as a society to judge people, to judge brands, to judge things that we've never experienced. Right? I mean, there's a lot of people that say, well, Kris is an arrogant this or that, and that's why it's fitting for your beer can, but they've never met me, right? But I think a lot of times people judge people and brands in places, like I said, where they've never been. Like, if you haven't been on a billboard, you don't know what it's actually like to be there, right? And so most people think, well, because I haven't been on a billboard and he's on a billboard, he must be arrogant. But they don't actually even know that for sure. But now they're commenting all over the place that this guy is the biggest egotistical maniac in the entire world, loves looking at himself. And so what I'm in love with is I'm in love with what's effective, right? And I know that people are reaching out to us. Our agents are helping their clients and their past clients. I mean, we're having a record year and we're doing things so different. And if we weren't out there creating the brand that we are, we wouldn't be able to make that big of an impact.
It'd be interesting to hear from you. So, like, one thing that's been a theme on a lot of episodes lately with top producers is how, like, focused they are on the customer experience side. What are you guys doing from the customer experience side to make it memorable? Yeah,
that's the most important part, right? I mean, anyone can turn on leads tomorrow, whether that's their social or whatever platform that is. But if you don't provide a great experience, or you're a jerk, or you're not friendly, it'll go downhill quick. Right, and I'm not saying that we haven't had some hiccups along the way, because no one's 100% perfect. And
you don't do that many deals without having some.
No, but we're very intentional about the consumer experience that we provide, and I know the experience that I want to have when I interact with companies and brands, and so we're striving to get to a place where we have world-class service, and in a lot of cases we're there. In a few we've fallen short, and if we've fallen short, we acknowledge it and we make it right. But we have really good people, and I think that when you bring people into an organization that believe the same things you do and fit your assessment, that will solve a lot of the consumer experience problems in itself, right? If you have a selective hiring process, it makes it a lot easier. Whereas a lot of brokerages, if you fog a mirror, or if you want 100% commission or whatever it is, you can join the brokerage. But you have no brand control. And so we're super conscious about our brand. We have a lot of people in our organization and their families are dependent on our brand. And the last thing that we want to do is throw it away or do something that's not right. We're always going to do the right thing and protect that brand, because we have so many people, and like I said, and their families, and everyone is really depending on Kris Lindahl Real Estate to make a living and to be able to raise their family, that I'm not going to take any shortcuts along the way in the experience we provide.
So the interesting one, because so in Canada, where a lot of our viewers are, we just got Zillow this year. They're not even, they don't even have Premier Agent as an option. There's no Zestimates. And you've kind of gone, here, like now you guys have Zillow Offers where they're basically offering to buy homes and do all that, and you're like, are you the only agent working with Zillow Offers right now?
So in the Twin Cities, we are the transaction partner.
Yeah. So how does that work? So I know it's only been about like a month, I think you said. So how does the Zillow Offers work with an agent being involved, and how you generally like feel about it?
Yeah. So Zillow Offers is fundamentally different than a lot of the other iBuyer models out there, where they keep the premier agent. I know that some people in Canada don't know what premier agent might mean, but it's an agent that advertises with Zillow. Mm-hmm. So Zillow keeps the agent at the forefront in Zillow Offers on the listing side, and they pay out both buyer and seller commissions, which is fundamentally different than a lot of the other iBuyer models, right? I mean, the other models out there are trying to replace real estate agents, and so being partnered with Zillow here in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and having an advocate that really is advocating for real estate agents is a massive difference. But Zillow Offers is really what it is the consumer can go online and request an offer on their home from Zillow, and Zillow is going to make an offer typically around fair market value for that home. And really, it's a service for the homeowner. They're not a home flipper, right? I mean, they're making an offer and helping the homeowner get on to, in a lot of cases we have life-changing events that happen when it comes time to sell, whether that's death, relocation, divorce, downsizing, looking to move up, whatever that may be. It's a service for the homeowner, and I can tell you that it's been very effective in the Twin Cities area.
Now, how many of the ones that like the leads, and again, I know it's only been a month, so it might not have like hard numbers on it, but like how many of them are you converting into like a regular listing versus how many are actually going through and taking the Zillow offer? Yeah, so that information is way too early to tell. In the upcoming months, I think we'll have a better understanding of what that number is. But I can tell you that there's a significant portion of them that really are interested in moving forward with a Zillow offer. Interesting. And do you? Because you've mentioned you're not a premier agent otherwise. I am. You're doing all those leads too? Yep. Our company's a premier agent. And how are you finding that? Because like a lot of people in Canada, because they haven't launched it yet, don't really know what it's like. Yeah. And they hear mixed things coming. So as someone who does quite a bit of it, how do you find working with Zillow? So Zillow's been a great partner of ours, and I've become really good, close friends with a lot of the, a lot of people at Zillow, a lot of the leaders. The way that it works now, right, this could change, I mean, and it could be completely different in Canada, is that you have agents that buy impressions based on zip codes, right? So zip codes in our area, and you could slide the bar over and say, hey, I want this many leads, and one thing that's different about the Premier Agent PA4, like they rolled out, is its connections, right? So they scrub the opportunities for you, and they give you live transfers, which are warmer leads, and you can control I think of it like pay-per-click, right? Really, I mean, you could go in and say, hey, I want to bid this much, I want to spend this much, and this is what I'm going to get back. And it's been really effective for us, but we got in early. We've got great relationships, and they've been a great partner of ours, and you have to have a really good system in place, like buying any sort of opportunities. I mean, you have great follow-up, great support. You have to have great agents. You have to have great agents that connect with people and are willing to move fast, right? The industry's changing, and the speed is way faster than it ever used to be. But I'm a big proponent of partnering with organizations where the eyeballs are, where the impressions are, right? And so you look at the United States, and I can't speak to Canada, but in the United States, that's where people go to look at real estate. And so it makes sense for us to partner with them on the Premier Agent side, and also on the Zillow Offer side, because that's where people are. I think I just saw a ranking recently that they're in the top, Zillow's in the top 20 or 30 websites for views in the entire country. Like, that's fascinating. And so if you're, I actually think they're less than 20, but if you're in that range, like, I want to be a partner of yours. Like, that's where people are spending their time. There's no way you can build a site like that without kind of investing how much they do. No, you can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, our website, KrisLindahl.com, locally is, we have huge traffic, SEO, and a lot of brand drivers sending people to our site. But it's by no means the size of a Zillow. And so being able to provide that to our customers and giving our agents tools where, hey, we're partnered with Zillow, but we also are able to provide our local branding and website as well, is a win-win that I'm confident that no one in our market can provide to their clients. So do you have any like unbranded sites out there, or is everything branded?
I don't. No. So I don't. So we're real focused on our flagship site, and everything revolves around that. We don't have any of the third-party, IDX providers that build, dark social media posts and dark websites and hidden brokerage names on forced registration sites and those super long URLs and trick people into sign up by their phone number is the password and all of those things. And so I'm a huge proponent of we let everyone look for as long as they want. We don't force any registration on our site. We just let people we let people look, because when you look at all the other portals out there, that's what they do, right? And so it's like there's no secret that you can find the data in a lot of places now if you're a consumer. So why would you try to protect yours when they can get it without showing their information somewhere else? It's like no one wants to be bothered. It's sort of like going to a store or a car lot or wherever you are, and someone asks, "Hey, can I help you?" A salesperson, we say, "No, we're good." It's the exact same thing online. Like you want to look, but until you're really ready, you don't want to show who you are.
And do you, like, when you get these leads coming in, like this kind of organic one, are you doing like auto responses? How are you following up with the leads coming in?
So we have so when you're saying when someone registers on our website,
what's that process look like?
So we have an entire cadence that we follow on how many text messages, how many phone calls, how often, when do they get assigned, when do they get transferred, what's the sequence look like for nurtures, for long term, how do we tag this one, how do we tag that one, and we have an entire system in place that for all of that. But what I've learned over time is the older leads are better. The older registrations are always better. The ones that, because most people when they first look at a house aren't really ready to move. They're just starting to get curious. They're starting to look. Maybe they decide, oh, it's not for us. We're not ready. We're going to take another year. And you got to stay in front of them. And I think that's what we do really well with all of our branding and everything else we do, is we're staying in front of them over and over again. And they've already had an opportunity to engage with one of our amazing agents where they've had a connection already, right? So they've already, this is the thing I think a lot of people should keep in mind is, even if someone's not buying, they had an experience with you or selling, right? And I think that's the mistake a lot of agents make, is we call an opportunity that registers on our website, and if they tell us that they're not buying or selling right now, it's like going to the trash. We throw in the trash. And that experience that they had on that initial conversation, whether it was Facebook Messenger, text message, email, phone call, whatever it may be, they're going to remember that when it's time for them to actually move forward and buy and sell. And so if you provide a great service for someone, knowing that they're not in the market, that stands out to people, right? They knew that I was not buying or selling, and they still took me to this house, or they still met me for coffee, or they still did this. So whatever it is, like that's a massive difference for the way that people feel when someone's willing to give something when really the consumer knows that we're not receiving anything back right now. Like it's like that. It's that like generosity of giving back and just doing the right thing, really.
So with your business, because like obviously it's very focused on like your name, how do you find that you guys ever have the objection, or have you gone way past it now of like, okay, but I only want to work with Kris?
So no, we do not have that objection. Early on we did, right? So when we first started the team, we did, and we had people that would show up and go, hey, where's Kris? He's not here. It doesn't happen anymore because consumers are seeing the results that our other agents, and we do a really good job of highlighting other agents, because I want to make sure we champion the people in our organization so that they can get more referrals and do more business as well. And I think that's a big difference, where you look at a lot of the teams are branded like they try to take all the power and all the control, and they don't want to showcase anyone else. And they have this sort of scarcity mindset that, oh, if I highlight my agents or I tag them, then everyone else is going to know who they are, and then every other brokerage and team is going to try to recruit them, and all those fear factor. And it's like, if someone wants to leave our organization, that's our fault. Like, that's our fault. We're not doing the right things. We're not investing. We're not providing the right level of service, the right products for them. And so that's a learning opportunity for us to get better. And I think people have this scarcity mindset that everyone's going to take their agents and take their people. And people won't leave if they're truly happy.
So have you found that you guys have a pretty high rate of keeping people on the team? Yeah,
most people in our organization never leave. Right, so we have people that stay really long term, and the long game that we've been playing around building this brand, no one else is playing here locally, and so we're really far ahead, right? No, everyone else is like, hey, let's buy a few leads here, there, let's or let's work our sphere business, and we've been just focused on building a brand for the last 9 years, and so we're so far ahead now that most people know that like we're gonna win. Like the game's been won. Like we won the game. Now we're assembling a few of the pieces that we didn't have quite right, and we're still learning along the way. But we're really strong in terms of branding and inbound opportunities. That it's so rare to have a true marketing-based model of really high-quality opportunities, right? Most organizations, you know, they have agents that's like, hey, we're going to cold call and role play for the first 4 hours of the day. You got to call your friends and family every single day. You got to do all this stuff and try to figure out who's buying or selling. So to have an organization where everything's inbound is super unique. Yeah. It doesn't happen very often.
Very rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Do you guys do a lot of like content marketing, like blogging and videos and stuff like that too?
Yeah, we do all of that. Yep, content, video. You know, and I'm on video all the time, you know, and so we have a lot of our agents connect with their clients over video. We're really focused on, you know, live streaming type platforms and video and text, email and videos. And
so in your video that goes out to like the public, so not like the bomb one-to-one text, like, what kind of videos are you guys creating?
Educational based, right? So no one wants to work with a salesperson. I mean, we're past, I mean, you know, the entire world's past that, right? I mean, we don't want to be hard sold anything. It's all educational based, you know, and so we're educating agents in our own market, which is super rare. Most brokerages and teams and agents don't want to put out content that's going to educate people that might be perceived to be their competition. But I have an abundance mindset. I know that there's enough opportunities for all of us. And if I can help other agents and other teams and brokers in our market become better, it helps all of us. And it just makes a massive difference when you're providing value. Because I see the videos that come through my newsfeed and it's just a sales thing. Like, if you know anyone looking to buy or sell, and it's just like, no one's gonna engage with that. Like, they want actual value. Like, here's the 5 steps to get you this, 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 and this when it comes time to sell your home. Or do you want to learn how to convert open houses at this pace if you're a real estate agent? Do this, this, this. Like, you gotta give value. You really have to give value. And at the end of the day, if people are attracted to the value they're giving, it'll work itself out and they will reach out to you if they're interested in what you're saying. And not everyone will be.
So is the educational content all around like the sales process of like moving, or do you do a lot of like community-based stuff?
All different types of stuff, right? So we've had, we've highlighted different, community features that we've highlighted people, different people in the community. We've highlighted so many different parts. It's just a huge, it's a huge process that we put in place. And that's what's neat about once you really build that brand, is that you can start, one is we have credibility to go make a big ask. Like, I just had the president of the Minnesota Wild on my podcast. So my Behind the Billboard podcast, I had the president of, for those of you that aren't from Minnesota, but I know most people in Canada are hockey fans, so probably know who the Minnesota Wild are. It's an NHL hockey team in Minnesota. So I had Matt Maka on, who's the president, and he's been there really since day one. Those are interesting conversations to have, and I learned so much from that. But I can tell you right now that I would have not been on that podcast with Matt if it wouldn't have been for where our brand is today, and what I've learned and along the way.
So with your podcast as an example, because I know like I do with my show, like how are you picking the guests you want on the show?
Yeah, so one thing that's super important is we're really after servant leaders, like people that are willing to give back and are really focused on leadership. I can tell you right now that I have no interest in interviewing with someone that's super successful but treats everyone like shit and is a complete asshole. Like, I have no interest in any of that, right? So I want people that are like, wow, they're doing something really neat. Like, the people love working there. They're supporting families. They've got some charitable things that they're doing. They're giving back their time. Like, those are the types of things that I'm super interested in. I'm not really interested in just success on the surface level. Like, hey, you're super successful, but you treat everyone like crap. Like, no, I'm not interested. No. So that's why I'm focused on, like, how do I, and selfishly, like, I've learned so much about leadership from the people that have been willing to come on my podcast. And so just another way of being generous and giving back what, I know that, over the last several years, I've been really focused on becoming one of the better communicators in the world. That's been my goal. Like, how do I interview people? How do I get interviewed? Like, how do I communicate? And those things are continuing to evolve because of the people that are showing up on my podcast.
And how have you found, because like that's one that I've been working on too, is like the interview skills, because it's a tough one to kind of get right. Yeah. How long till you felt like you were comfortable as like a solid interviewer? So
it's hard to say. I would say 6 months in, I started to get really comfortable. But I'm used to being interviewed all over the country, and so I know what I like when I'm being interviewed.
Yeah.
And early on, I took a lot of those things and put them in place. But then after time, I there were times where I realized I was saying certain words too often. And I know a lot of people can relate to that, right? You just have those buzzwords that you continually say. So now I try to write those down and stay away from those. And then, I also learned, like, you can take a few notes, write a few things down, but never script things, right? Like, scripting is like, I feel like that's like going to watch someone that continually runs PowerPoints for 2 hours. Like, at some point, it's completely exhausting and boring, and people aren't going to stick around. And really in a time and age where, like, right now, like, keeping someone's attention is super difficult. Doing something that's scripted is going to lose interest fast, right? And so I never go in with anything.
That's where we basically made a big switch. Like, if you see, like, my first episode, there's a few cuts, and what I was doing was pulling out my phone to look at the list of questions. Now the only one we generally ask that's the same is, how long have you been in the business? And we just kind of see what happens from there.
Well, you're doing a great job. I mean, make sure that, I don't know where people watch this. I mean, they're going to watch it on
primarily Facebook. So
awesome.
Facebook's a big one. So, like, that was the thing that I went with my show, because, like, there's so many podcasts in the industry and things like that, and they're all just like Skype interviews and the same. So I was like, what can I do differently? So, like, in-person interviews only.
Way better,
And then the beer was, because if you ever watch Hot Ones?
I haven't.
So it's an interview show on YouTube that gets millions, but they have, like, big celebrities on it. But the idea is 10 hot wings, each one's paired with a question, but they get progressively hotter. And so, like, the last one, like, you're gonna die because it's so hot. And what I found interesting watching that was, by, like, the fourth wing, like, these are, like, professionally media trained people.
Of course,
So they're regular celebrity kind of guarded answers the first little bit. Then they get so focused on how miserable they are from the heat that their guard goes down and they have a conversation like a real person.
Interesting.
So that's what we were trying to kind of, like, with the Over a Pint thing, was how can we bring that situation in? But then, some people don't drink, different things like that. So then we've had to figure out other ways to get guards down, and it's been like a lot of fun trying to learn those little.
No, I really like it. The reason I asked, I was going to say, like, I mean, you're a really good interviewer, and I was just going to tell everyone that they should post in the comment section if they agree with me. So since it's going to be on social media, I look forward to reading all those comments.
Here, or here, or anywhere, depending on the platform and where it is, and what you're viewing it on.
Of course,
But it's been fun. The one I've watched a lot to, like, learn about it is, like, David Letterman's new series on Netflix, and I actually watch a lot of, like, stand-up comedian stuff, and, like, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee was another inspiration for it. I love that, like, behind the scenes stuff that they do.
For sure, and also, I think in today's world, we want real. Like, we don't want produced, like, we don't want, like you said, the media train, we want, like, real, raw, like, what's it like? Don't give me the commercial, right?
The same scripted line every time. Let's have a real conversation.
That's right.
And those are the most fun episodes too.
For sure.
We've had a few issues where, because, like, Facebook doesn't allow swearing. So if you swear in the first, like, 10 minutes, it gets disapproved. But you can swear after that, and you're normally fine. Then, like, a lot of little things, like, because we put money behind the episodes. But if I do, like, the slow roll of, like, pouring it in and doing, like, that artistic shot, it actually will get banned right away because they think it's a beer ad. And you can't advertise alcohol. So, like,
it's funny what you've learned.
We got banned from YouTube ads because it was considered shocking content because we were drinking. So there's been a lot of interesting. So we're actually really a lot more now downplay the beer side of it.
Awesome.
But it's good. So if people want to, because I know you, like, especially for people in Minnesota watching this, you were talking, like, you want to grow your brokerage pretty significantly this year. If someone wanted to join your team or just learn more about you guys, where should they reach out? So
we have, on KrisLindahl.com, we have all of our open career opportunities on that page. Just at the top right corner, I believe it is, you can click on careers. You can connect with us on social media. Most people go to our website and read more about us, and most people in the Twin Cities have a very good understanding of who we are and what we are. But, with the recent partnerships that we've signed and really the different campaigns that we've launched, there definitely is a big need for support and for agents as well. And I had mentioned earlier, the scholarship side of it, where we're giving people that are outside the industry scholarships to go attend, real estate classes and get their real estate license, is an area that I'm super excited about. Like, being able to give back and be in a position in our company where we can invest in people and help people go to real estate school to get their license, which really, I know the next step is going to have breakthrough for their family and really be in a position that they've never been in their life, is what's super interesting. And so going to our website or go connecting with us on social media, either or will work fine. And or maybe just feedback on this. Maybe you're not in a position where you want to, you're curious or open-minded about change. Then I'd love to read the comments or the messages and see what your thoughts are on what we shared today. And one thing I would just add to that is I know that in super competitive, cutthroat, real estate industry, some people get worried or concerned that if they reach out to another team leader or another brokerage that their broker will find out, or in some cases maybe they're not an agent and maybe their employer will find out. Anyone that reaches out to us, we always treat that as confidential. So even if you're curious or maybe you have a question or maybe you're not looking for a change and maybe you just want us to answer something for you that you're stuck on, I'm always willing to give back and help anyone in our market, continue to grow, and I don't want to see anyone stuck. So if you have questions or concerns or anything that I can help with, I'm always here for you.
And for people outside of Minneapolis in the area, if they wanted to, like, they had a question or anything like that, how would they get a hold of it?
Yeah, so if you're outside of Minnesota or Wisconsin or the Midwest, sending us a message on Facebook, sending me one personally on Facebook. Unfortunately, I'm maxed out on my friends, but you can, on my personal page, you can click follow and send me a message, and I read all those personally. I manage all of that. Or if you're sort of in a position where you're looking to, maybe you're an emerging leader, maybe you're a brand new leader, maybe an experienced leader. My Behind the Billboard podcast is behindthebillboard.com, or going to any of the podcast networks, whether it's Apple or Stitcher, whatever it may be, and listening to podcasts. And I would say, like, the podcast has very little to do with me, and it's more to do with the guests. And I've had more takeaways out of that than I have most things in my entire life. And it's because of the guests. I have really good guests, and
deep dive, and
most of our episodes are an hour and a half long, and so I know they're a little bit longer, but boy, the takeaways that I've had, and I think a lot of people watching probably are in an area where you've never been before, and so learning and open up your brain and trying to gather more information. And so the Behind the Billboard would probably be a great one. And so it's purely educational. We don't sell anything on it. It's
no
just
coaching business in the background.
Nothing. It's just another way for us to give back to the industry that's really helped us get to a level that most are not at.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
That was good. All right.
Thanks for watching.
See ya. See you guys next week.
If you made it to the end.